a Bulldog radio podcast.
The Ferris State Bulldogs have upset the nation's #2 ranked team. Wide open! Taylor is going to take this one to the house! Touchdown Bulldogs!
October 11th, it's the MVSP. Welcome back, everybody. Brandon Worth, Joe Nagy, as always. And it's a great day.
Boys
for a
are
great
back,
pod.
baby. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a weekend, but we're back.
We're back. Big weekend, and even bigger weekend on deck, Joe.
Dude, cannot wait for this weekend. We'll talk about it more Thursday. It's going to be a heavy one Thursday. But Anchorbone is coming to town this week. Going to be huge. First time since 2019. That's going to be awesome. I think Grand Valley's bringing a lot of people. We're going to have a lot of people. It's going to be crazy. Going to be bumping. Anchorbone is always the best time of the year. It's GV Hate Week as well. So as much as we love to do that, GV Hate Week is on, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I will have to say that I was doing my run yesterday, and I was running down State Street, and I happened to pass just a bystander.
Are you talking about the PSK house?
Huh? No. No. On the other side.
What happened?
Just happened to be a guy wearing a Grand Valley shirt walking by the sidewalk.
Dude, I know. I saw a
And
guy.
I was like,
I saw a guy at the
you're
gas
doing that
station.
on purpose.
I saw a guy at the gas station wearing a GV shirt, and I was like, already up for the weekend, huh?
Black shirt,
No, it was.
white letters with like a blue line underneath.
Oh no, this guy had a blue shirt on.
Oh, okay. Maybe
But
we saw different people.
Yeah, I think it was a different guy, which is interesting. But I was like, a little early for the weekend, huh?
Ah.
Yeah, I'm staying up with a buddy, and I was like, oh well, hopefully you guys lose Saturday. And then that was just the only thing of the interaction because I had to go.
Yeah.
I bought my stuff and then I left.
Let's just say that instead of going on the sidewalk, I went on the road around and then got back on the sidewalk.
Respect.
Because you know what week it is. And we'll
it's GV Hate Week, baby, and that's what I like to see.
Oh, yeah. We'll preview that in full on Thursday as well. But we got a lot to cover this week. We had a lot on deck, including football. We'll talk about how they squeaked out a win at Saginaw Valley, as well as hockey taking a split over two ranked teams, as well as some great results from cross-country soccer and volleyball and golf, as well as we will get to one of Joe's preferred topics from last week. If you guys tuned into the episode last Tuesday, we talked about billiards, and it ended up leading
went into Dude Perfect.
Yeah, so we're going to get back into that discussion because there's an interesting twist that we found in this, so you have to make sure to stay tuned to that. But first, we have a special treat, Joe. The hometown hero is joining us in studio from Ferris State Hockey. Brad Marek will be sitting in the chair across from us. Can't wait for that interview.
Absolutely. So without further ado, we'll swing into the interview.
Now joined in studio, Ferris State Hockey's Brad Marek is with us. Brad, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
So, Brad, for your first question, weekend split against two ranked opponents last week. Brought out a lot of positives, but some stuff to work on for the team. What are some high points that you saw, on the individual level as well as the team?
Yeah, definitely some positive points from the team. You look at two good opponents, you'd be able to compare yourself. Coming after Friday night's win, that's huge for us. And we look to build into Saturday, and we showed what we can do against them in the first period. And we got to learn on the negative side of things on how to close out those games and play a more simple style, but continue scoring goals. It's not just backing up and playing defense, but
for sure,
we got to learn a bunch from our team and our group, and we're learning more every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. With your unit, being able to score has been a strong point for you, and especially that front line last year going into this year too, and even earned you CCHA Rookie of the Year honors. Just talk about that feeling as well as being able to contribute to this team right out of the gate as a freshman.
Yeah, that was a great honor from the league. A lot of good players in this league, a lot of good freshmen last year as well, who also put up some good numbers. But I think it was the little things that helped me get that, whether it's blocking shots, winning faceoffs, just doing things to help the team win. But no, that was a great honor, like I said, and looking forward to improving this year, not just being happy with where I am now.
For sure. And being the hometown kid, growing up in Big Rapids and stuff, do you have any memories of Ferris State as a kid, going to games and stuff like that, getting suited up and all that?
Yeah, all the time. It was a dream of mine, whether it was out on the tennis court playing, pretending like I was playing for Ferris, or on the ice as a kid on the pond. No, it was always going to the games every weekend. I can remember the feelings, going with my family, going to the games, getting excited. It's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. All I can think about is going to the games, and so it's unreal being here, and it's been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Full circle moment, really.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Especially from coming from Big Rapids. I mean, me and Joe being also CSAA foes at one point. Never in hockey, though.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, just talk about the experience playing high school hockey as well, because, I mean, Big Rapids has had a pretty good program over the last couple years, and there really isn't as many programs here and around for a lot of other teams. So going to play a lot of these other teams from far away is like Flynn and Muskegon and all these other teams, and even playing club as well, where you had to travel quite a ways.
Yeah, for me it was the travel. That was all year for me with my team in Grand Rapids, Fox Motors. So I was there from when I was 12 on up till my junior year of high school before I moved away. No, it was crazy times, a lot of sacrifices from the family, and a lot of great things came out of it, and I wouldn't be there without them for sure. So that's huge.
Yeah, what was that like then? Like kind of being so young, just in high school, to kind of move away, have a host family and stuff like that. What was that all like?
Yeah, my senior year was definitely interesting. I had a great family. My roommate was a 97 birth year at the time. I'm a 2000, so he was 3 years older than me.
A little bit of a different demographic.
Yeah. I just turned 18. He was turning 21, so it was definitely interesting. But I learned a lot of good stuff. You learn how to cook for yourself a little bit more, a little bit faster than you think. But being able to adapt school and hockey, you learn it. So it's good for college too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and going from high school and travel now to the big stage at collegiate, what's been the biggest difference as far as overall gameplay when it comes to college hockey compared to those two, and even just the surroundingness of school and living in a new place in a new town?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest jump was definitely from like minor hockey to junior hockey. You're playing that huge age group, which you've never played before. And then it's another jump to college, right? Like you're saying, it's bigger, older, faster, stronger guys, but you just learn to adapt to it quickly and learn from your teammates at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you see like a more of a variation? I mean, when you mentioned minor, like with that age group, do you see like difference of styles in gameplay, like want more open playbooks from a lot of these coaches, or is it more in collegiate? Like everybody kind of has a similar game plan. Obviously, you make tweaks and stuff, but is there like a huge variation?
In college, for sure, you see a lot more different styles, a little bit less of like taking chances and doing this, because you have 2 games a week. You play juniors, you play 62 games here, you play 34, so games are even more important every single night, and you tend to take the whole week of practice just focusing on one team. I know there's the weird split games like we played this past weekend, but you focus on the one team and you really dissect and go into what they're thinking and talking about and try to combat it.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, especially last year, coming off the CCHA Rookie of the Year award, like we talked about. You're not technically a veteran being a sophomore, but what's that kind of been like helping the younger guys on the team? These incoming freshmen getting acclimated to, collegiate level hockey, as well as, college level schoolwork is a little bit different than kind of high school and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely the school is way different. Coming in like most of the guys, taking a couple years off of school, so it's getting back into the swing of things, making sure that guys are going to school, going to doing their homework, spending the extra time, because it's just as important as being on the ice. You can't play if you're not doing your school,
Yeah, for sure.
But no, our freshmen have done great. I think our freshmen are really surprising us and surprising the coaching staff, which is great. You want them to succeed, just like the older guys wanted me to succeed last year and my group. So no, it's been really good though, being able to share my 2 cents with the team and with the younger guys.
For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the team all around. I mean, you guys have had a really tight-knit group for a while. Obviously, have guys come and go each and every year, but just talk about having the chance to live with a lot of your teammates, being close to each other, doing things on and off the ice together, and just enjoying the college experience.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome being able to be next-door neighbors with more than half your teammates. It's fun being able to go hang out, or, you got a class with somebody, you go do homework with them, or just being close. Like you get these relationships that you might not get if you're in apartment to apartment. You see more how they live, which is interesting at times, but it's fun.
Yeah,
it's a good time though.
Sure, there's a lot of different variations of that. For sure.
Yeah.
And Kenesha's coming to town over the end of the week. We talked a little bit before we hopped on, kind of what you guys are expecting. They're a good team. A lot of turnover with what they've had, especially with the transfer portal that they've hit pretty hard. What's the practice been looking like so far this week to get ready for the Golden Griffins?
Yeah, I know Coach Trevor Large is there. He's a former alum of Ferris State, played here under Coach Daniels. And when we played them last year, it was just nothing but compete out of them. They're a good, hardworking team, and as we start to get later into the week, do a little bit more video and really, like I said, dissect their team. And we saw that they played Penn State last weekend, 2 close games, so that's a good team there too. And we gotta respect them, and we know that they're a good team, but it's hard to play in our rink, and we know that. We take that to advantage, definitely, for sure. So we're excited.
Yeah, when it comes to pregame preparations, we've had a lot of guys on the show, including the McCallion brothers, that we could say are very superstitious. Are you in that department? You like to do certain things before the game, or it's, hey, we're playing a game at 7 o'clock, I'll be there, and you're going to see my best no matter what I do beforehand?
Oh, I'm doing the same thing every time. Almost. It's a nap. It's got to be the same time. It's got to be stretching out at the same time, getting to the rink at the same time, putting on your gear the same way. Me and the mix, the brothers, had a lot of the same kind of stuff. So it's funny. Sure. It's funny to bring it up.
Why do you think that is, especially for hockey players? Because especially for we've talked with football players, soccer players, they have little routines, but if they don't do it, it's not the worst thing. But why do you think hockey players are down to a T?
Because we're weird. We're weird, but. No, it's good though. I mean, I think it's good to stay on task, and what works for you, what works best. So I think for some of the guys, hockey's such a demanding sport. And I'm not saying that football and all the other sports aren't. They obviously are. But for us, we're just weird, like I'm saying. I mean, it works well for you, so don't stop, And we came from juniors playing 60 games, so you learn what works best for you, what times work best for you, I mean, a 6 o'clock game throws me off. I got to push everything back an hour, but you figure it out, right?
Yeah, habits are habits. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, and especially for hockey, Joe really gave me a good idea for this question of equipment. Definitely comes and goes really fast. I mean, you guys break sticks every game. You're sharpening skates every couple weeks or even more. Just talk about the equipment aspect of it, because I mean, you got to have so much stuff with you all the time, as well as getting new pads and all of those sort of things, where other sports, especially like mine for running, it's a couple of pairs of shoes every month, but you guys get stuff every week, every month, just because that's what you need.
Yeah, it's definitely, have a lot of respect and are super grateful for our equipment managers. We have 2, Ben Muma and Donnie, and they do a great job with us, and whatever we need, it's there within either seconds or hours. It's there, whether they're doing our laundry or like you're saying, sticks are a big thing. So we have a deal with Bauer. So I mean, it's awesome. We get treated really well, and it's really great.
It's cool.
Has there been a lot of difference that you've seen from juniors kind of with equipment? Is it much the same, or is it a lot less hey, I need a new stick? It's it'll be here in either 5 to 6 business days, so they might have it right there.
With sticks, it's kind of the same, but we order more here, so we're more ready. In juniors, it was 6 to 12 at a time. Here, it's 12 to 24 at a time.
Shoot.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But and those will last. 24 will last you all year. But I mean, they break on the most random things. You're taking face-offs; they're gonna get beat up. Every game they're just getting beat up, So that's the big thing. But pants, I think we have 2 pair of pants, one for game, one for practice. Helmet we keep all year. Gloves, you might have 2 pair of gloves. Nothing too much crazier than the sticks are quite frequent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, probably the most common. Particular tape job, or do you end over end, one line? We've heard some weird ones.
I go toe to heel. It's not more of an American thing, but I've just kind of picked it up. It's definitely a European thing, but I just like it. I mean, I don't see much different. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like the habit thing.
Yeah. Hey, if you went over half your face-offs, I mean, you can take your stick however you want. That's fine with us.
Really, do whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah,
for sure. Do you kind of do the sock as well on it too, or
a little bit? I just go a little bit past the heel, so It's like an ankle sock, you know.
It's
like an ankle sock. Yeah.
Well, we ask everybody on this question for you. The last one. Everybody that comes on the show has to answer it. What's your favorite thing about being a Ferris State Bulldog?
Oh, I think for me, it's easy. Just the camaraderie of everybody around here. It's the people in the community. It's the people that do the little things like the teachers or even the janitors. Mm-hmm. Everybody you could talk to, so personable. It's a smaller university, but everybody knows what it's like to be a Bulldog and the Bulldog mentality. We're here to support everybody, and everybody's awesome.
For sure.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Brad. We appreciate you having on the show, and good luck this weekend.
Yes, thanks so much.
Once again, huge thanks to Brad for coming on the show. Big weekend for them as well coming up. With Canisius coming to town, so we can't wait to talk about that this coming up Thursday. But once again, huge thanks to Brad. I know he's got a busy schedule. But we'll hop right into the Ferris State Sports Report, Brandon, to open up the show. Talk about hockey. Big weekend split between Michigan Tech and Western Michigan. 2-1 win over Michigan Tech, and then a 6-4 loss against Western Michigan. We looked better, not going to lie. We looked a lot better than last year. I will say that. But a little bit of some of those common mistakes that we had last year kind of, made their way from the shadows a little bit. But Michigan Tech defense played pretty solid. We bailed out Logan a couple times. I think we really stepped it up with blocking shots and kind of knocking down the passing lanes, which was really good. But Michigan Tech, we looked pretty solid. I think we missed a couple of opportunities on offense, and I think a lot of times we were kind of staying on our heels and not being too aggressive. But a win's a win, 2-1 over, I think they were ranked like 18th or 19th. It's a big win over a ranked opponent.
Big win for sure, and beating a ranked team, a very reputable, well, even beyond reputable, a very vintage powerhouse program in Michigan Tech, one of the best year and after year. And I think really we did a lot of great things in this game. I was watching it from my hotel room, and I got most of the third period. And I'm not going to lie, Joe, when it was 2-1, I was shaking in my boots a little bit, but that defense locked up big time in those last 5 minutes. Tech was throwing numbers at them, throwing a lot of different looks, and our defense stayed disciplined. And that was absolutely huge. And I mean, being able to have the resurgence right now of Connor McGrath has been huge in his freshman year. He's been netting goals left and right. I believe he got rookie of the week, if I'm not mistaken. Rookie of the week. So congrats to him for that. But yeah, the biggest thing is, man, Logan Stein, brick wall in front of the net right now. He's not letting anything by. 9.32 save percentage in those 2 games. He was big in that Tech game. I believe he had, I want to say, like 35 saves in that game, or even it was more.
Yeah, he went 28 saves.
Oh, it's 28 saves. It
28
felt
saves
like
on 29 shots.
It felt like 35. It was up there as far as shots on net for Michigan Tech. But I mean, we saw really a lot of good things. Western was a little bit different. We saw a little bit.
It was tough looks.
Yeah, so the surgence was huge in that second period, being able to extend the lead. But then it almost just seemed like we got very stale, especially offensively.
A lot of times I feel like when we get into a spot where we're like up 3-0, like this game, for instance, like we get to a point where we kind of don't really set up the offense as well. Like a lot more times instead of dumping it and kind of chasing it with numbers, we just kind of dump it and then all of our offense goes and does line change. That happened like 2 or 3 times last night where it was even strength. It was an even strength, push. But still, if we were able to dump that in, we will be able to get set up. There's a lot of times where we were struggling to get set up as well, which was not the best. But that's kind of like what we saw last year. We were a very heavy dump and chase team, and we weren't able to get too much stuff set up. I will say this: we need to start shooting on the power play. I think we only had, maybe 4 or 5 shots. We had, how many power plays do we have?
We were 2 for 10.
10 power plays, and you go 2 for 10. And I think in those 10 power plays, we maybe had 7 shots.
No, you're absolutely right. There was so many times where we're looking for good looks. We're looking for the best look. I respect that. But when you're going 30 consecutive seconds looking for one perfect look, now if it's saved, because it's just a good play by the defender to get in front of the shot, or the goaltender makes a great save, and then it gets deflected and dumped down to the ice. Now you have changes. Now you're going to have to go back, get the puck reset. That's going to take 20 seconds. Half your power play is almost gone. I know that math was a little bit off, but it rounds up. You know what I mean?
It's close enough.
Close enough. It's just one of those scenarios where we're doing a great job of really attacking early on some of those power plays. And then there's been times later in the game we really try to set up for the perfect look. Just need the middle.
Mm-hmm.
We just need the middle. We need those constant looks. I know that the coaching staff does a great job in preparation, and I know that they're doing the best that they can. But, I mean, those are just the observations that we have, and I think it's just one of those situations where it really just looks like, I don't want to say the word conservative when we're up 3-0. I mean, obviously it's hard to really have the idea of keeping the pedal when you're up 3-0, because obviously then if you get burnt, then you're going to look dumb, right? So I'm not sure exactly what it is that when we're up in these big games, the offense gets a little stale, and it kind of gets not necessarily like full park the bus mode, but it kind of seems more conservative, and that a lot of these teams just really pile on different looks later in the second and third periods, and they're able just to find the net, and unfortunately they found them in bunches in that back half of the second period, and we just couldn't catch up.
And the really tough part too is when Coach Daniels took out Giesbrecht and tossed Logan in net. It's like you can't really blame Logan for leaving or to leave that many goals go by, because you're sitting for an hour and a half almost. You know, you're just on the bench. You come in cold against a team that just scored 4 straight, and then they're gonna be hot. And as soon as he gets in, it's a tough one too, because it's a shot that I think squeaked under his left arm that, you know, could have been either way could have been saved if it was like a half an inch. It was just a perfectly placed shot, and it's probably one that he wants to get back, but especially when you come in against a team that's hot and a team that's really rolling on the offensive side, it's not the easiest. And especially when you're sitting for almost a period and a half, 2 periods, that's not what you like to see either. So, I don't know. It's just something where we really got to get ready for Canisius coming up, and we'll talk about that more Thursday. But I'm liking what we're seeing so far. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, the Michigan Tech win was absolutely huge. And obviously, Western wasn't as good as we liked, but we saw a lot of good things, especially offensively. I mean, being able to set the tone right away on that breakaway was absolutely huge to start the game. So I think that was a big thing that we can see from this team moving forward. Just setting the tone early offensively is great. We just got to finish that out for 60 minutes. Just keep the pedal down and be able to come out with these victories, because we have proven over the last 2 years we can beat these good teams. We just got to do it for the whole duration of the game. That's really been the only issue as far as this team has been concerned, because we have a lot of great talent and a lot of great coaches. Just got to put it together for the full duration, and we would have nothing but good things to say about this team. So. But yes, Canisius coming to town for a Friday-Saturday home slate. So that will be on deck for Friday and Saturday. And also heard rumors you can buy a package ticket, $30 for non-students. You can buy a hockey ticket and a Anchorbone ticket right now, which that's a pretty good deal if I do say so myself. So you can watch the 1 o'clock football game and the 7 o'clock hockey game on Saturday. But if you're listening to this, you better hurry up, because they might be gone here soon. So lots of tickets being bought already for both of these games. So we'll cover all the previews on that on Thursday. Anyway, over to the gridiron we go. Tough scare. Very tough scare.
Dude, I was nervous.
I was too.
Very, very nervous. It was a close game against Saginaw Valley. What was it, 33-28?
Correct.
A big sack in the end zone by Ian Hall, basically to close the game out. Which really that really took a lot of weight off everybody's shoulders. But I was scared, man. I was doing tweeting. I was watching the video, and I was just by myself in my house, and I was just like, "What are we doing here?" Like we played so bad. I think it was especially, we came out really, really hot in the first quarter. I thought it was just going to be a runaway game. It was 20-7 with, 3-4 minutes left, and we had the ball on the 1 yard line. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to go up 27-7. It's going to be kind of tough for them to come out of the half even down that much. And, go in, fumble on the 1 yard line. They go back, score that one. We go in, throw an interception the following drive. They score off that one. It was just a really tough look, because what did the half end up as? 20-27? 20-25 or something like that?
Been 21-20 at halftime after that touchdown run with 21 seconds left.
Yeah, that was just not great. And they came out swinging, especially in the second half, right out of the third quarter. They score there, and Brito's pretty good. Andrew Brito, Saginaw Valley's quarterback. He's a little bit small, but he is pretty dang good quarterback.
Yeah, he's got a live arm for being how small he is. I mean, he was really slinging it for a little bit there. But yeah, I think really, first quarter, I would say went very well. I mean,
almost as good as, I think that was our best first quarter that we've ever had. Other than the Waldorf game.
Probably pretty close. I mean, obviously that Nick Johnson pass about halfway through when they scored that long touchdown would have been that was like, yeah, that one sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, they really locked in the rest of that first quarter. I mean, Marcus Taylor breaking that big one on that deep pass from Evan, and then obviously CJ getting in the end zone before the quarter ran out. It just really stalled from there. I mean, we mentioned the fumble on the goal line from Golker, as well as the interception from Evan. I mean, those plays just really deplete the momentum. And, I mean, giving Saginaw Valley, especially after the interception, after they went down and had a good drive, and then we give them back the field position, able to score later, that was just a really tough situation to go in, because with that game being the way it was being played, it was all momentum driven, right? The team that had the ball and was getting the turnovers was going to score 20 straight points. It was just, were you going to be that team, or were you the team that gave up the ball and were giving up 20 points? Because that's really how it went. It was so streak happy in this game. I'm pretty sure the only time that it went back and forth was the first scores of the game. Other than that, we scored 14 straight. They scored 20 straight, and then we pretty much scored 10 straight, or I should say 13 straight, to end up winning the game. So that was just a tough game to watch. I mean, it was really good that we came out on the W, obviously, sloppy W for a clean L any day of the week. But this was our wake-up call. We heard it.
I think that was much needed, too.
Yeah, we heard TA in the post-game.
He doesn't want to use the S word, so it was a crap show.
Yeah, it was a crap show. Yeah, that's exactly right. And, I mean, I talked with a couple of the players from that game, and they weren't happy. None of the players were happy with the outcome on Saturday, which is great. I mean, we obviously would love to see them play their best, but when on those days where you don't play your best, things aren't going very well. They really bounce back really well, end up getting those nice drives at the end of the game to win. That's what big teams do, is they come up big in those big quarters. So it was good to see that. But, I mean, really, honestly, we can't talk about this game without seeing especially when you look over the stats and the team comparison. Penalties made this game very, very hard both ways. This was a very, very hard game to watch. 27 penalties, 313 total yards of penalties combined. We had 17 and 203. They had 10 for 110.
Yeah.
And
okay, I will say this though. Refs were kind of buns. They were
bad all the way around. I'm not even saying like they were favoring one side or the other. They were straight up pretty bad.
They were calling. I've never seen the call that got called twice near I think it was third quarter on Caleb, like illegal or like hand motion or whatever it was. Yeah, they got called one.
I was
never
surprised.
heard that one in my life.
They called delay of game on the defense twice in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That's a call you see maybe once every 5 games watching any football.
Maybe.
And they called it 2 consecutive times. So just the fact that they called it a second time means they were either setting the tone for that possession of something was going on there that was not on the field.
Yeah.
It was personal.
They missed a blatant pass interference call that ended up in a touchdown. Because I think it was what? Was it?
It was, I think, that 43-yard pass.
Yeah, it was a 43-yard pass to the end zone, but I'm trying to remember who it was over. Was it over Vincent? I can't remember, but
he got pushed in the back.
He literally just got pushed over.
Yeah.
In the replay, you see him standing ready, and the Saginaw Valley receiver pushes him over and catches the ball.
Yeah.
And it's right in front of the ref, and you don't see it. And then, who was it? Sydney gets called for pass interference because he doesn't even have his hands on him. He just sticks it up, and he didn't look at the ball, but he didn't really do anything. It was an uncatchable ball, too, and they throw pass interference.
Yeah. It was a tough game to watch all the way around. But, I mean, this is sometimes just how it goes.
W on to GV.
Thank goodness.
Doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Does not matter at all.
Evan Cummins, 8 of 15, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He also led in rushing with 79 yards on the ground, 14 carries. He had a 46-yard run to break up, I believe, I believe it was in the second half, actually, to key one of those drives. It was huge in the game.
It was like third and long, too, on that one.
Yep. Carson Golker, 16 carries, 43 yards and a touchdown. CJ Jefferson was definitely a factor on the ground and in the air as well. He had a great game. I believe he had a touchdown reception as well as 56 yards rushing. He was definitely, it's good to see his breakout game because we haven't talked about him a lot. It's been Marcus, it's been Brandon Childress, it was Xavier Wade early in the year, as well as Tyrese, but getting him to see his name in there is great because he's a very talented player as well. Samir Knighton had that touchdown run as well. Marcus Taylor, the 79-yard touchdown pass. Childress 92 yards receiving on three catches. And, I mean, really, it was Murph's doing his thing right now. It's just insane. 3 more sacks, 6 tackles total, 5 for loss.
GLIAC Player of the Week. It's just add to the add to the resume at this point.
If you saw our Instagram story, Murph is a monster.
Exactly.
That's really all you could say.
Dude's a dog.
Yeah. Centel Williams did lead in tackles. He had 10 in this game overall for the Dogs. Connor Neer had 9 as well. As Darius Irving Bay with 7 to lead there. So definitely a lot of good results. So, I mean, what else do you say?
You really don't.
Just keep her moving.
And
Ian Hall, of course, with the sack to lead to the safety as well. That is definitely
huge for the program there. But we'll probably hop into some GLIAC scores from around the league. Grand Valley went to, I think it was Massachusetts, to take on American International University. 45-3 win. Easy money for them. Hate to see it for us, but I think it's going to be a good one because they're going to be coming off. They're going to be practicing indoors all week, and guess what? It's going to probably rain Saturday. So it's going to be a review of the meeting in the playoffs probably because for some reason you think it's a good idea to practice indoors when the game time is going to be 15 degrees and snowy. But either way, it doesn't matter because
that's up to them.
Yep. Use your money as much as you want, even though you're going to lose. Michigan Tech beat Wayne State 35-34.
That was a close game.
Or in Houghton. I still can't even know how to pronounce that town name. 35-34.
In Houghton? Houghton.
Is it? I forget what it is. Houghton. Go for it. Anyways, Michigan Tech's quarterback got the GLIAC Offensive Player of the Week. I think he had 4 touchdowns, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
A lot of yards scored. Davenport remains unbeaten with a win over Northern Michigan, 27-24 in OT.
Wow.
Got away by the skin of their teeth on that one as well. And obviously, our Dogs got business done sloppily on 33-28 victory in SVSU.
Yeah. Got a dub.
That is true.
Let's move on.
Next sport to talk about.
Yes. Anyway, soccer was in action. Road trip over the weekend, and certainly a good one. I mean, we talked to Izzy Zamborini before the road trip. Shout out to her for coming on the show. You can find that show and episode in the feed below. 2 wins. That's what we wanted to see, and we called it, Joe. Goal-scoring machine. Back at it. We finally broke through another great 4-goal performance on Friday. Wisconsin-Parkside got to play a lot of the reserves and got the win there, 1-0 as well. So definitely a lot of great things overall. I mean, you certainly look at this game or these games and just say, yep, this is what we expected. This is what we wanted to see. High-powered offense, control the tempo, play our game, put them in the net, move on. And that's really all you can do on a road trip, and that's all you can control. So they did a great job of getting those wins in Hammond and Kenosha. So, I mean, now we're moving on to Davenport and Grand Valley, so that's going to be an interesting test coming up. I mean, those are 2 teams we really, I think Davenport actually got us earlier in the season. I mean, we tied GV in the game at home earlier this year. So those are going to be 2 tough contests. The goal scorers in the Purdue game, of course, Izzy Zamborini, 2 more goals. GLIAC Offensive Player of the Week. Congrats to her. Peyton Price found the net as well as Nicole Oker as well in the second half. Those are the 4 goal scorers in that Purdue Northwest game. And the lone scorer in the Parkside game, that 1-0 win, was Nikki May, who we had talked about moving up to the offensive position in that side of the field. So congrats to her for scoring an unassisted goal. And the funny part was it was literally 3 minutes into the game that they scored, and we just had to control the tempo the rest of the way. That's all you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
So good to get business done.
Love to see it, really.
I mean, what else could you say, Joe?
You really can't.
Got
say
it done.
Much. Got it done. Business as usual, really.
Business as usual. So I'm definitely loving the fact that Purdue, we had a lot of quality looks. Not as many shots as we normally have seen from these teams because, I mean, back in the homestand, we were seeing Purdue Northwest, we had 36 shots back at home on the 23rd. This time we saw 10. Difference, 1-0 September 23rd. This time 4-0. Quality, 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 quality. That's what we wanted to see, and that's what we saw. And that just makes this offense look that much more explosive. Parkside as well, same deal. Saw a lot of good quality looks, just like they did on September 25th. and, I mean, really just controlled the tempo all the way through. Daria was great in net, as well as Lauren Kabacki. So, I mean, you just see a lot of great things from this team, and it's move on to the next one, right? That's all you can do. So I believe that's now 6. They won 6 of their last 7, and the 7th was a tie against Saginaw Valley 1-1. So they're currently unbeaten through 7, knock on wood. So a great momentum booster going into these weekends games for sure.
Especially with it being the last little homestand or away stand before a quick little pit stop at home against Michigan Tech and Northern Michigan next week. That's
for sure. Volleyball we go to now in action, and you can already throw. Yeah, Joe, throw the anchors down already. Friday, sweep against Purdue Northwest. Then our friends in Allendale on Saturday beat them 2-3-1.
Ain't no thing, really.
Ain't nothing but a thing, as we say here on the show. And it certainly was a great game. I mean, we saw a lot of great things. I mean, offensively at Purdue Northwest, it was lights out all night long. I mean, we just set the tone from the get-go. I mean, 25-19, 25-18, 25-17. Hit percentage was off the charts. I believe we finished with a total north of 320, which is ridiculous. 327 to be exact. For all the math majors out there. Definitely saw a lot of great things. I mean, we turned a lot of defense to offense, and I mean, that was huge. We didn't have as many digs in this game, which I noticed when I was looking at comparison charts with the other games they'd played this year against some of these teams. So I thought that was very interesting. So I'm assuming then there was just a lot of points given both ways, and a lot of overall just one setup rallies and a lot of long rallies like you see in some other of these tight games. So definitely very interesting when I saw that. But I mean, overall the offense was great. Grand Valley game, momentum swings left and right, but we got the good end of that deal. And so I was really just good to see this team take down the Lakers in enemy territory.
Especially seeing like, we did not play good the first set, but to be able to rally back and just win 3 right in a row, I think that shows a lot about the team, especially in a spot where like Grand Valley is a team that we've swept most of the time these past couple of years, but they've always brought it within, 4 or 5 points. It's been a battle each time, but I think especially seeing that we're going into biggest rivalry in their field house, and to be able to, lose the first one but not really get too distracted by everything else and just put their heads down and get the three wins in a row with the sets, I think it's a big opportunity for us to really look at that and then use that as a momentum booster, especially going into this Hammond crossover in the middle of the season.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to see that. For Purdue Northwest, Chelsea Freeman and Cyan Fairfield led the Dawgs with 11 points overall. Olivia Henneman-Dulape went off in Allen Fieldhouse. She had 17 points in that GV game. She stepped up huge, followed by Cyan Fairfield, Emma Bleacher, Claire Nowicki, all at 10 offensively. So a lot of great things as well. Kaylee Matt, 45 assists in that Grand Valley game. She got Player of the Week once again. I know it seems like she's on repeat in that category, and for good reason. Congrats to Kaylee for that honoree once again. She was great all weekend long, and we just saw so much good volleyball. Just not much more to talk about really from this team. I mean, ever since the slip up at Davenport, we've really locked it down and have played even better. And I mean, now going into that Midwest region crossover, like Joe was mentioning, going to play some pretty good teams there. I believe already slated. Cedarville, a very talented team out of Ohio. Rockhurst, the team we faced in the opening round of regional action last year, who did give us some fits in that game. I remember on the call for that game. And it was like 3-1, I want to say. And they definitely gave us some interesting looks. So that'll be fun to see. And then I think they have an undetermined, I think it might be tournament play. So we'll try to see how the bracket shakes out. Yeah, for that, I believe it's a Saturday. It'll be Saturday the finale. So they'll take on those two teams Friday. So good to see regional competition before the postseason, because obviously I'd like to get film and really like to see what those other teams are going to be throwing at them potentially later in the season.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is a really good situation, especially, this Hammond crossover is like one thing that I really like to see, especially being like in the middle of the season. It gives some different looks of who you're going to be playing, because right before you start the second part of the GLIAC, you're kind of getting not like a routine, but you're more kind of just getting into like a situation where like, okay, we've played them before, let's just do it again. But this kind of gives some fresh faces to see, especially some teams that you might see in the playoffs and in the later part of the seasons if you make it to, the NCAA tournament and stuff like that. But they're two good teams we know. Whoever is going to be the last team that we play, who knows what that's going to be. But Rockhurst and Cedarville, we know are two good teams, and I think it's going to really set us up well for the second half of GLIAC play coming up after that.
Absolutely. Going to be fun. You can check out all of their information as well as all the other teams online at ferrisstatebulldogs.com. Anyway, cross country, big weekend at the Lewis crossover, and I'll speak for the men. It was incredible, and here's why. We have had so many years going to this meet and have just absolutely crapped the bed some of the years. We ran horrible, didn't have great performances. I couldn't pick up any points regionally. This year was different. This team was phenomenal across the board. And I know guys like myself, a lot of the other upperclassmen weren't feeling as great going into this race overall, just from obviously the fatigue of the season and whatever. But taking the recovery process, getting a lot of good work in from Louisville. And I mean, just put it on display. I know, like, for me especially, I was able to PR by 7 seconds from Louisville, which is one of the fastest courses in the nation. And being able to run even faster than that on a course that I have personally had fits and struggles with the 2 times I've ran in my career prior to this, absolutely huge. And, I mean, just so much great things across the board. I mean, Donis Harris breaking the 25 mark, chasing after that. But after that Bulldog record, he's coming for it. I can feel it. He was 49th in this race, 24:59. Great performance from him. Noah Griffith, 51st, right behind at 25:04. He was blazing. Nate Alford, he had a great race, 25:26. Myself at 25:38. Dan Hardesty and Brendan Kearney, both around the 100 spots at 25:48 and 25:49, respectively. Absolutely huge. I believe we finished 11th. Out of the 23-team field. Absolutely huge, because I know some years we were about 18, 17, and we, I think, had some faster teams there this year than we have in years past. So that's all you really need to know to put into perspective how good this was. The women also did very well. Whitney Farrell continues her hot streak, her freshman season, 35th overall, 22:43. Hannah Brock and Sydney Kubiak, 38th and 48th with 22:50 and 23:02 respectively. Danae Felchbosch had a great race overall, 23:09, as well as Melina Strauss at 70th. In the top 70 at 64th at 23:22. I believe the women's team finished, I want to say, 9th overall in team rankings. I'll double check that and just to make sure. But they had a great race too, and they're finding themselves top 10 in the region. That's definitely worth mentioning. So shout out to them. They've made the list. I know the men, we're trying to get to that goal. We're trying our best to get there. It'll just take some time here. But yes, 9th overall can confirm. For the women's team results in, I believe it was I want to say 20-team overall race. Really cool. Good to see.
Man.
I mean, this program's on the way up. I can't say it anymore.
That's what you love to see, Just constant improvement, especially seeing, what this program, used to be, especially the people that we see in the GLIAC now. I mean, it's a really competitive conference, and to be able to keep up and especially to be able to improve at each meet that you go to is really cool to see.
Yeah, it's the fastest region, the fastest conference in Division II, and that's not debatable. And
that's just straight up facts.
No, it really is. I mean, you can look at the national champions, and you can see it's pretty much been us since 2000.
The proof is in the pudding.
The region, so.
The proof's in the pudding.
So yeah, but I mean, it's just incredible. It really makes me emotional, honestly, because I mean that's what I really wanted to come here to Ferris to do, was to help build this thing up. And now that it's on the way up, it really brings tears to my eyes, to be honest. So
respect, Brandon.
It's super cool. So thank you,
High five.
Jim. I appreciate that. So no, it's been great. We have a great season. Just had a great workout today on Tuesday. It's one of our hardest of the year. We got through it, and we did even better than we expected. So just so much good things. I can't even spend more than 200. I could talk for an hour about how great it is. But anyway, we got more things to do on this program, as well as golf to round out the Ferris State Sports Report. They did very well in pretty much, I think, their second to final tournament, as according to the schedule. Obviously it could change, at the Motor City Invite. A lot of great results on the men's side. I believe ended up finishing 3rd place overall in that tournament at Wayne State. as well as some top performers across the board. So Nathan Kranick, I believe, was runner-up individually. Big dog with that as well. I think he was actually one shot behind Grand Valley's Charles DeLong for the title. Unfortunate, but great performance as well. Caleb Bond, standout performance from him, tied for 5th place, 147. Adam Arif Mazdarin had a 149 that put him in 11th, as well as Zach Corner with a 156, and Dan Shattuck, we've had on the show previously, with a 157 to round out the top 5 scoring individually. So end up getting a top place finish. Very good for the program. I mean, especially going in to the rest of this season. And, I mean, taking on some really good teams from the GLIAC. Grand Valley, Wayne State were there, and Saginaw Valley was there. So get to see a lot of these teams that we're going to face in this competitive tournament season coming up later in the spring.
For sure, especially seeing that we're on the right track, especially with Kranick being only one shot behind. I think that really leaves a sour taste in the mouth to be able to kind of get back to it, especially when the GLIAC playoffs kind of start up. That's going to be a big one, and to be able to see that we're going to be 3rd place at the Motor City Invite, that's pretty solid, especially seeing that there's a good amount of GLIAC teams there too.
Yes, and one more thing. Totally apologize. I did not mean to overwrite them. It was on my list. Tennis crushed it this weekend. Just wanted to make sure that was mentioned against Lawrence Tech on the men and women's side. Dominant performance, 7-0 for the men, 6-1 to the women. Absolutely fantastic games, fantastic matches overall. So good to see that from Coach Doran's squad. I got to see a lot of different tandems, which was very cool to see a lot of these guys starting to play with different partners and really dialing in their games. So really cool to see overall for that team as well. The men will be on break for the rest of the winter, and I believe the women's will be taking on Bucknell at GV. Very weird, but that'll be their final competition of the fall, according to Coach Doran, and you can read all about that in the Ferris State Torch because your boy wrote the recap about it. So if you want more, you can read that in the newspaper. Joe also writes in the newspaper, and he does a great job.
I wrote the football recap this week, so if you want to read that one, go ahead.
There you go.
If you don't want to, I'm not going to force you. I don't really care.
Yeah, we know reading's kind of...
I get paid either way, so
yeah.
I mean, it's really a toss-up. I mean, I don't really mind. But, Brandon, you got the big one this week for writing.
I do have the big one this week.
The big one.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, because I got some headliners ready. Oh, boy, they're wrote down on my desk for potential outcomes. I'm ready.
You already got the titles rocked out?
Oh, if it ends like I think it's going to, I got a banger ready for you.
Respect.
Maybe I'll I'll leak it Thursday.
Well, you probably shouldn't
leak.
Don't leak it, because then if you say it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. So I have it all. I usually take a couple minutes every beginning of every week prepping for the next article. And then inevitably I put it off too long, and then I have to scramble to get it done, because that's just the nature of me being busy.
That's just how I do it too. I make a little outline, and then I don't really do anything with it until it's like needed to get done. And I procrastinate way too much, but I guess not anymore.
Procrastination is not domination. That's what I can definitely tell you.
Well, I mean, I dominate the last second. I guess.
You do.
I guess, like, if you want to say,
we all
like,
do.
If you're procrastinating, then like you dominate at crunch time, you could say.
Yeah, that's
like
being productive at like 10 p.m. It's a good thing, but it's not the best thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not like.
Well, you could say you're good with deadlines then, though.
No, yeah, I'm honestly like not great at deadlines.
I'm fantastic at deadlines,
but
I put it off for way too long and then I get it done at the last second.
I don't have anything I turn in late. There's just times where it's like, for example, 9 a.m. after I got back from the radio station this morning doing some ads. So if you listen out there on all the Big Rapids radio network channels, you might be able to hear my voice. Just as a little side note PSA. But had like an hour. I went and proceeded to eat cereal and watch some TV instead of working on a assignment I could have did for AMIC today.
Here's the thing, man.
But I know I'll be able to do it after I get back from the Rock tonight.
Here's the thing. Is like, why? Okay, you just got done working. Put the dogs up on the couch and chill out and watch TV for a little bit. You deserve it,
That's true, yeah.
That's the thing. When people say, like, oh, I work all the time, it's like, that's a miserable life. I want to enjoy myself a little bit.
That doesn't sound fun.
I have a whole bunch. I had like an hour and a half of class, and I had other work to do. I got home, could have done my homework.
True.
What did I do? Watch the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to.
Yes. There's one thing for being productive.
It's all about balance, people.
But there's another thing to be balanced. I think that's absolutely right,
It's all about
Joe.
balance.
So don't work your whole life
Skip that
in the
class.
ground.
Don't turn in the assignment.
Okay. That might be too far. But
drop out. What about it?
No, because then we'll lose people for this podcast,
Oh,
Joe.
yeah, I probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, stay
Don't
in
do that.
school, kids. It's actually good for
Or
you.
don't. I'm
But
not going to get mad at you.
yeah, make sure you're in
Maybe
school
your
for the right
parents will,
reasons,
but
though.
Who knows?
Be sure you're in school for the right reasons.
Exactly. I
Because
think we should probably end the Ferris State Sports.
we probably should. Anyway, Dude Perfect on deck. You're going to want to hear
What?
this. Stay tuned. Are you a Ferris State student interested in getting into audio production, music, podcasting, or even DJing? Bulldog Radio could be the place for you, with plenty of opportunities and hands-on experience within not only these realms, but the marketing and social media opportunities outside. Join us to have your voice heard. No other place than Bulldog Radio.
And we're back from the break, hopping into our kind of undercover sports thing. It's not really a sport, but I guess you could call trick shotting a sport. We talked about it last week a little bit on our tangent that we got off on billiards, but Dude Perfect is building a crazy facility, basically the trick shot mecca. It's going to be their own Disneyland. I know we talked about it last week, but dude, it's going to be crazy. A 330-foot trick shot tower, crazy mini golf courses, trick shot town, Dude Perfect museum, 2 acres of outdoor space, merch store, restaurants, and more. That's insane. It's like the Bass Pro Shops pyramid.
Yeah, it's just an absolutely huge development, and it's one of those moments where you just sit back and you're like, wow, this is incredible. Literally 5 dudes in college with a basketball, bought their own basketball hoop in their backyard, and just decided, you know what, I can make a cooler shot than you.
Yeah.
And then we'll make a friendly bet. And then they turned it into a video. And now 58 YouTube subscribers.
And millions of dollars later.
Yep. And
that's insane to me.
And it's just insane.
The cool part about it, though, is they kind of like, I don't think before like they started like kind of going up and blowing up and stuff like that, nobody really like featured trick shots on anything, you know? Like ESPN Top 10 was always like plays from pro sports, but then when they started blowing up and all that, like a lot more YouTube channels started to get big because they would do trick shots. And like, I mean, you got on ESPN, or what was it, Hunter, or you got on ESPN?
Hunter got it on ESPN.
Hunter got on ESPN through Worthmore Studios.
Correct, yes.
Because he made a crazy cornhole trick shot or whatever. But it's weird how like they revolutionized kind of, I guess, the entertainment industry, because especially with YouTube, like they started doing a lot of collabs with like athletes and like celebrities, and then that's kind of how everybody else followed too. Yeah,
I think one of the biggest things, and that's kind of why we wanted to tie this discussion in after obviously our last episode last Tuesday talking about this, bringing it in more than just focusing on a particular sport, was because A, this is awesome. B,
it's insane.
This group of guys have really identified these big characters and have really helped fans enjoy a sport through this character, learning about them and being able to kind of understand, like, yeah, like these athletes are just like interested in fun stuff as like we are. Obviously, they have a job as a sport, but they're still going out and they want to have fun and then do a lot of these like video type things too. And I think the third thing too is they're helping people enjoy sports, any sport, regardless if you still play it. You know what I mean? Like, just me, if you're in your 40s or your 50s or your 30s and have your bad knees and broken elbow that you just can't wake up in the morning without doing a couple arm rotations because it hurts or whatever, you still can't play anymore competitively, you can still have a fun time with the sport, being able to do unique stuff like this. And I think it's just super cool of being able to bring kids into the idea of everything that comes with a sport, whether it's playing competitively or just casually or hanging out with your friends or whatever, and that you can create anything from it too. Like, just the fact that they started this thing is super cool. But yeah, this new headquarters, I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's going to bring a quoted 330-foot tall tower that you can actually throw basketballs off of to try to make your own trick shot, which I think is super cool.
You're going to make so much money off just that.
Yeah.
You already know they're going to be like, oh, $50 for a shot, like to shoot a ball.
They can't make it that expensive,
and it's like,
right?
I feel like they probably could. I mean, stuff's pretty crazy. I mean, look at Disneyland. It's $17 for a glass of water, basically.
That's true, but I mean, I think that they are. I mean, I think what I really like about
they're pretty genuine though. I don't think they'd like try to price gouge or anything.
Exactly.
Like that. It just depends on who their partner is for this, because you know
that's
true. They're not going to be spending $100 million of their own money for this.
No. I mean, they've brought in the Overland Contracting and Architecture company to make this whole design. I'm sure you've probably seen it on the internet. It's got the iconic huge tower with the whole big old tarp shade.
It reminds me of the Ferrari headquarters.
Yeah,
it doesn't have that exact shape, but it kind of has like the little wings that go out back and forth.
Yeah. I do agree with that. But yeah, I think this is super cool. I think it's going to help a lot of kids just enjoy the sports and entertainment worlds colliding together. And I mean, they built this industry, really. I mean, we haven't seen anything like
they didn't have any rivals. They started up.
Yeah,
they
started
don't have anybody on YouTube that like is competing with them at all.
Think back to like 2009 or 2008 watching trick shot videos on TikTok. That didn't exist. They made this. Like, it's theirs. I mean, just the fact of like they were just the people that really brought this about. And it wasn't really necessarily even trick shots either. I mean, they introduced all the other things. The battles, for example.
You got battles, you got all that stuff.
Yeah, like all this stuff, and it's just really unique. The world of entertainment and sports collide, and you see that so much nowadays because now we have the topic of influencers. It's in the social media marketing world that has really taken over, of bringing in individuals to represent your brand or your company or your team. So like you have all that now coming into play. And, I mean, it's just the whole way of sports entertainment as a whole is changing. And that goes with any sport, whether it's in the National Football League or if it's the little old sport of disc golf. Like, you're seeing all these different changes. And I mean, you can look at any other sport probably on our list that we haven't yet covered, Joe. And Dude Perfect's probably work with them, right? I mean, we covered NASCAR. I mean, they had a whole video with a bunch of NASCAR racers I remember watching as a kid.
They had that whole thing of like they were at like Bristol or something like that.
Yeah, they did that whole thing. Disc golf, they worked, well, technically it wasn't at the time disc golfer Brody Smith, but he now is in that industry.
You want a whole list of every single celebrity and player that they've
Oh my gosh.
done?
There's probably there's some pretty notable
speed
ones.
round. You want to do speed round here?
Sure, speed round.
Alvaro Morata, who plays for Chelsea FC, Odell Beckham Jr., Jason Belmonte, Jamie Benn, Drew Brees, Logan Broadbent, Luke Bryan, Pete Carroll, Luke Kennard, R.J. Seiler, I don't remember. Blue Ranger in the Power Rangers movie is who he is. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ezekiel Elliott, Mike Evans, Zach Efron, Becky G, Jeff Goldblum, Rob Gronkowski, Johnny Hacker, Liam Hemsworth, Florian Kohler, the billiards guy who we talked about last week.
Yep.
Ludi Lynn, Scott Lang, or Ant-Man. So would it be just Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd, yeah.
Yeah, Paul Rudd. So not Scott Lang. Marcos Alonso, Tyrann Mathieu, Tim McGraw, Jake McQuaid, Daker Montgomery, Mike Moustakas, Chris Paul, Sean Payton, Dak Prescott, Paul Rabel, Craig Robinson, Aaron Rodgers, Paul Rudd. Hey, Scott Lane, same thing. I guess they kind of doubled up with that one. Adam Scott, Naomi Scott, Tyler Sagan, Brody Smith, Ryan Tannehill, Serena Williams, Russell Wilson, and that's it.
I counted at least 7 sports on that list.
Yeah.
Different sports.
And you you got Power Rangers people. You got...
Yeah. Entertainers. Musicians.
Tim McGraw and all those
actors.
Guys. It's crazy.
Actresses. Yeah. It's just the whole way now that we bring sports together.
They forgot Zac Efron. They've had Zac Efron on the.
I thought I heard you say Zac Efron.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, he was in the E's. Never mind. I thought he was gonna be in the Z's. My bad.
Yeah. He was in the one of the all sports golf battle things.
Not to mention they have
cool.
Bryson DeChambeau. I think there's an outdated list because they
had
had like Bryson. They've had all those guys.
Yeah, at the Masters at Amen Corner,
where
they didn't bring golf clubs and they played golf.
That's crazy.
Just these unique ideas. But sports and entertainment have definitely come together, and I think that this group is probably one of the biggest parts of it because they brought this industry kind of into light with its popularity, and now you see a bunch of other really, really cool groups that have kind of followed that shape, obviously with their own twist. Nobody wants to play copycat. But I think it just makes it fun. Like, I think people really enjoy not only watching those videos, but even like trying to make stuff like that themselves. Like, I can tell you as a kid going out in the backyard and be like, yeah, I want to try to throw a football 80 yards into a basketball hoop because that's cool, and I'm going to show my friends and post it on the internet and see what happens. It's just the whole idea of being able to create something that's unique that not everybody can do, and being able to like build yourself to the point where you can kind of show that off as an entertainer, it makes you feel like you're one of those dudes. Makes it feel like you're somebody a lot bigger than yourself. And I think that's kind of what the unique part that it brings about. And I think it's just really cool. And I think this group especially has done it in a really, really cool way, because we've seen, I mean, there's so many people on the internet now that make really good content. And I mean, you could name off a million different people that a million different people watch. I mean, there's just, it's literally endless. The exploration is endless.
Yeah, there's crazy amount of content creators.
Yeah, but these guys have made it an absolute, like, number one rule a full mission and vision of, we're making this for everybody, and we're making it the right way. We're not using explicit stuff. Mm-hmm. We're making sure everything's kid-friendly. We're making sure that we're reaching everybody that we can, not just a specific group of people. And that's what I really appreciate.
And their live tours, too, are pretty insane.
Yeah, the live tours that they've done is pretty incredible. And I think that whole aspect was something that we've really seen, like, especially, I mean, obviously, concerts have been the major, the major pinpoint of that industry. But now you're seeing, like, now stand-up is one of those, big tour time industries now, is having stand-up comedians. And now you have this whole new aspect of, like, performing live entertainment in a different way. You know, it's not just somebody going up and singing or talking. It's like people doing stuff and doing these crazy stuff in front of people, these demonstrations, right? It's like the circus, but who wants to go to the circus nowadays? You know, it's too modern of times to go to the circus in that example. But they're just opening doors, man. And they're opening doors for a lot of these sports that are undercovered. And, I mean, we'll obviously, over the next couple of Tuesdays, cover some more of those. But I think it's just super cool that these guys are now taking the next step in impacting all of the people that they have viewing them for how many years, and just making the opportunities for kids to be kids.
Yeah, endless. Did you subscribe to them when you were a kid?
I did. 100%.
When did you subscribe to them?
Oh, geez. I couldn't tell you the year. It was probably when I was probably in middle school, probably.
Yeah. I can't remember when I subscribed to them, but I know I was like, when I subscribed, I know it was like 500,000 or less was when I subscribed.
Is it really?
Which, I mean, is still like, no, but they have, 50 million subscribers now? Something
yeah,
like that,
I know.
Crazy.
I was there before Mill. I know that for sure. But
before what? Oh, before a mill.
Before a mill, yeah. Because I remember seeing, like, oh my gosh,
it's crazy because
I have a million subscribers.
I remember seeing them like in there when they did their first office, which was like the small one, and I was like, this place is sick.
Yeah,
like I wish I could have that place.
Yeah,
and now they've $100 million facility.
Yeah, they went from literally a glorified dentist office
basically
to a full factory warehouse, to now a miniature version of Disney World.
Yeah, that's insane.
How cool is that?
That's it's crazy.
Yeah, but this is cool. I would love to know where they're going to put this thing. Obviously, I'm sure they want to put in Texas because that's where they've been headquartered. Yeah. That's where they all met at Texas A&M.
The tax breaks they get in Texas are just unmatched. Really.
Yeah, it's. I know they said, like, I remember reading the SBJ, the Sports Business Journal article about it, and they were talking about that they were exploring all the options, and obviously being able to have the right land, the right property, the right architectural factors in place to put this thing in is definitely not going to make it easy. But I know they said something like they were looking at Los Angeles, they're looking at Atlanta, they're looking at all these places. So, I mean, that would be really interesting if they got up and moved to a different place. But, I mean, I think everybody probably would love it if they could find a way to put it in San Antonio or Houston or Dallas or something where they can be really close to home to where they started it, and I'm sure probably where they'd want to end this whole journey for them, because I think that'd be really cool to put it. I don't know exactly why, if you're in the situation of like a big time Texas town, that you wouldn't want this to come in. Obviously, I know, like, especially for Dallas, there's not a lot of room there as it is because they've just boomed up since the oil boom back in the late 20th century. But you still have, like, I mean, it's pretty much just endless. The fact of, like, you're going to bring how many people, tourists coming to your town.
Yeah. So I bet they probably
for this group, because they're going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are going to go through there within a year's span.
I mean, if you got 50 million subscribers, young and old, I feel like are going to go. Because I would want to go to that if they open this up.
Oh, I would check that out
like
for sure.
if I was down in the area, for sure, why not?
Yeah.
And especially if you got young kids with like parents, like, because those type of kids, like, they see that they're gonna be like, instead of going like Disney World or something like
I want
that,
to go
they're like,
there.
let's just go there. And then
And
parents are gonna like that too, because it's probably gonna be cheaper than
Oh,
Disney
way
World.
cheaper, yeah.
It's not gonna be $126 ticket.
Yeah, better genuine entertainment too, because they can be kids. They can run
Yeah,
around.
run
They
around
can
and
do stuff. They don't have to
So-
just sit on a car that's going 60
Yeah.
miles per hour on a rickety track,
Yeah.
which is still fun
And
too. but
spend $90 for a sandwich.
that's true. Disney, get your prices
Get
together.
your act together.
Goodness
Jeez.
gracious. You're ripping off the whole American economy with your crazy ticket prices.
Also made
Cedar-
Orlando traffic unbearable.
That's true. You got it worse because you
Dude,
actually
that was
live
Oh
there.
my gosh. that was a
I've thought it
terrible
was
3
bad
months.
And I've only spent spring breaks
Every day. Side note, every day. So I did an internship in Florida. Obviously, everybody knows this. That's probably watched the show this season. Every day at 5 o'clock when I'd leave, it would take me an hour and a half to get home.
there.
An hour and a half to get home. Because the traffic, just from people leaving Disney World at that point, was just so bad.
Yeah. That's
The
tough.
worst.
I think
Stunk.
Maple Street's bad. And that's an extra 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Now talk a half an
Well,
hour.
now
That's
that they
what Joe
they
got.
switched up the old what's it called? Now that they switched up on the main street or whatever, that switched from 4 lanes of traffic to now 2 and a bike lane. Bikers got the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Give us the 2 lanes of traffic back.
But if
What?
they implement bike lanes, they get more money from the higher ups. Because yes, that is
Bro,
part of the reasons.
I literally, dude, this is a conversation for another day. Probably a podcast, but the city officials of Big Rapids, idiots. Idiots.
Jeez.
Idiots.
You don't like the skate park
No.
coming in?
Do I skate?
No.
I mean, I guess that's really not going to matter to me. Like, I don't really care about that.
You could
But
take a bird out
State
there.
streets. Well, I don't think it'll probably do that. I
Probably
feel like
not.
they would
We could
probably like that.
try.
State Street needs to go back to the way it was. Because if it's not, I'm gonna start throwing hands with somebody.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to City Hall and beat somebody up.
Okay, you heard it here first.
I live down the street from City Hall. I can be there in 2 seconds.
If you hear a restraining order on a 21-year-old male with probably a backwards ball cap and a pullover sweatshirt on a bird scooter, you'll know who it is.
You'll know it's me.
It's Joe
I'll
Nagy
be
from the
loud
Most
and proud
Valuable
about it,
Sports
too.
Podcast.
I'll be loud and proud about it too.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for us today, and we appreciate all those tuning in for this unique episode. We're going to have more banger content. We'll get to Anchor Bone, the whole full preview of Ferris Athletics coming up this weekend, as well as Undercovered Sports next week, and the NFL picks and college picks as well coming up for Thursday. Rumor has it Joe absolutely destroyed me this week, but we'll save that for another day. But make sure you subscribe all podcast platforms, follow on the link tree. Man, you can find everywhere that we put out content there. It's all in our social media bio links and Instagram and Twitter. But anyway, anything to say, Joe?
Take care, everybody.